So I thought it would be fun to rank the Star Wars Visions episode. All 9 of them in the order of my favorites. And since a lot of you have very strong feelings about this show and are very defensive of it, I think this should create a very interesting discussion down below. So I'm excited to hear you champion your own favorite episodes. And to explain the ones that that you didn't like, and also maybe tell me something about the ones that I didn't like that maybe you feel that I'm missing. All right, so usually I will work my way from worst to best, but I'm going to do best to worst on this one because I know you guys want to have a positive conversation about this, so I think it's better to start with the best. All right, so by far and away, I felt that the best episode of the bunch was episode 3, The Twins. This did a great job building on Star Wars lore. I love the idea because, the Empire loves playing with genetics, their favorite Legos, doing the creating its own set of twins, because that, of course, has become something that's a running theme in Star Wars. The first trilogy, the original trilogy had Luke and Leia. And then, of course, most recently, we've had Rey and Ben forming a Force dyad, which I thought was fascinating. And one of my biggest regrets about the latest trilogy was that we never got to explore that. I'm like, that's what these movies should have been about. Why are we only getting to it now? And then, of course, how can you not love something where Neil Patrick Harris and Alison Brie are your 2 lead voices? I thought their Sith armor was super cool. I mean, look, even the destroyers were linked together like a pair of twins, and it was called the Gemini. The theming was really, really good. I thought that was excellent. And they looked awesome in their Sith armor with the red light patterns. I was like, ooh, Kylo, your designer did not do as good a job as these guys. And then even when the brother got his good look, which was kind of like a mix of Luke and Han, he looked great. I thought it was really, but it's still tied into the look of the twins. And I liked that they had kind of like, they looked like they were like heroes, but they, of course, were working for the dark side. So it was great. I also liked the 80s animation style. It reminded me of like an 80s animated movie. And so I wanted more. That's one of the reasons I liked it so much. I was like, I'd love to see where this story goes, because he's like, I wanted to save you because, I knew that you would be injured and I did this for you. And she's like, don't do it for me. I want glory, but I can handle it. But I don't know. I saw a path forward. So I liked that the best. All right, episode 5 was my second favorite, The Ninth Jedi. I questioned as to whether or not I should put this in second place because I really disliked the actual story. I thought it was really hard to get through. I did not enjoy it at all. However, the lightsaber lore that is introduced here is so fascinating and so exciting that I had to put it in second place. I know a number of you love this episode, so I'd be really curious as to, I'd love to hear your perspective on it down below. But I liked that they introduced that the color of the lightsaber does not rely on the crystal, but on the user. And I don't believe that's ever been established before because sometimes someone will use someone else's lightsaber. Like when Rey was picking up other people's lightsabers, she wasn't changing the color of it, although her color lightsaber, I think, did change, right? But I don't think that's ever been established as strongly as it was here. Also, that the connection that you have with the Force controls the length of the blade. I was like, can I change the length then? Or do I always have to fight with the ridiculously long sword? But, it was cool. I thought these were really great ideas. And I thought they made lightsabers even more interesting. And then since the crystal matches your way you attach to the Force, that's the way the Siths revealed themselves was so cool when they all deployed the lightsabers and suddenly it was the sea of red. I thought that was great stuff. Simu Liu, I believe, voiced the father here. He was pretty good, but I thought the standout here was Kimiko Glenn, who I really like. I think she's a great actress, and so I liked seeing her have this opportunity here, even though, again, I did not care too much for the story itself. But that lightsaber stuff, boy, that was cool. Next up, Lop and Ocho, and I put this one next because it reminded me the most of watching a longer series. This to me felt like an animated show. And I like that because I watch animated shows all the time. So it made me feel like I almost, like when it was getting started, well, the way the stories are told here, I felt like I kind of jumped in mid-season, but that was okay. I also like the art here. Not only, I mean, that's one of the things that made me feel like it was one of those shows. I thought the art was fantastic. I don't know about I guess this one's for furries out there, but a giant bunny lady. But the world that they inhabited looked cool. I liked that. I thought that the base, the Sith, the Empire base was very cool, and I love that there was a tree in the in the destroyer, in the hangar where they were fighting. I mean, I think they could have used that a little bit stronger, but just the fact that it was there was real nice. And I did like the time jump. I liked meeting them when they first adopted this alien girl into their family, and then jumping forward. I always enjoy a good time jump. And to see how the two sisters had changed. Sister versus sister. Again, that's that duality in Star Wars. Good versus bad, yet linked. So I like that. I thought that was very good. I couldn't believe that she threw over her whole family for that hot Empire officer. I was like, are you serious? And I can't believe no one called her on it. I'd be like, wow, has he even asked you to get married? All right, so anyway, I like that they changed the Jedi logo for their family crest, that it was like a variation on that because they weren't actually Jedi. I thought that was really beautiful. And I just thought, it was a good story. Again, this was a story I could connect to, that I'd be interested in seeing more of. I thought that was great. So that's my third favorite. The next up, Akakiri, with Henry Golding, who I thought did a wonderful job with his voice work here, and Lorraine Toussaint. I thought she was amazing. They were very good. I didn't even know George Takei was doing a voice here. And even once they told me, I was like, which one was George Takei? So George Takei got range. But I thought, the beginning of the episode I only thought was okay. But I like the voice work a lot. Henry Golding, I was like, who's voicing this Jedi? This is amazing. And then at the end, though, when Lorraine Toussaint showed up and they did all that cool stuff with the colors in the palace, that was nice. That, to me, was the most artistic episode. Where I was like, these are some strong choices, and I'm liking them a lot. And the fact that, he was tricked into joining the dark side, even though his mentor was like, if you go on this trip, you're going to join the dark side, basically. But he did it. I don't know how she brought the princess back to life. But anyway, I was like, okay, what's going to happen next? And they're like, no, the story's over. And I'm like, darn it. But again, I guess I really gravitated towards the ones that I thought the story was strong and I could at least sense that it was going to go somewhere. So, and again, the visuals, like this was the episode where I thought you could take frames and you could put them on the wall as art. I mean, I thought that was really, really good. Then next up, The Elder. I always enjoy me some David Harbour, and as I've been saying, everywhere I can, he should voice Han Solo in an animated series. But he was good here just in his own right. I think he's a great actor. And James Hong, by the way, did the Elder, the Sith, and I always love when he gets work. There's been some discussion that he doesn't get enough recognition for the longevity and the breadth of his career, and so I'm really happy whenever he does get recognition. So that was fantastic. I thought it was an interesting idea that we were in a point in time when there were no longer any Sith. I was like, how'd that happen? They're like, no, we're not doing that. And I'm like, darn it. But that was cool. And I liked that the Elder had these Sith blades that were like flat, like swords. I thought of the hook, like little hooks on the end. I thought that was cool. And I loved that the blades smoked in the rain. I don't think I've ever seen that in Star Wars, but I'm like, how do I not see it every time? I thought that was incredible. I was like, wow, they should find the rain all the time. Why didn't I think of fire swords or laser swords in the rain? Of course there's going to be smoke and stuff. I mean, that's a great idea. I love that. But then, I didn't like the message of the short, but it had a message, and I think it illustrated the message, so I have to give it points for it, even though this message goes against every fiber of my being and what I stand for. But it said, he said, no matter how powerful you become, you know that it will not last forever. And his old age is what killed him because he got weaker. And this is the way of the galaxy. You go stronger and then weaker. Tell that to the Emperor, who's like, haha, I'm still around, everybody. So, Yoda was pretty freaking strong the whole time. I feel Obi-Wan. I didn't feel, Obi-Wan's like, are you saying that my old age, he's like, Obi-Wan is like, it was Darth Vader. Well, actually, Obi-Wan kind of sacrificed himself. But you get the point. I don't like this fatalistic crap. But I have to say, they had a message, they made the message clear, and they illustrated the message with the story. So, I gotta respect that. All right, then next up, The Duel. I thought I was going to really like this one, but all the good shots from it were in the trailer. I did not care for this, actually. And it just did not feel like Star Wars to me. This was the one that the most felt like Batman Ninja. I mean, there were some cool elements. I thought it was cool that the tea kettle was his timer. He was like, oh, it's going to be my signal. And I thought it was good when he had the decoy. You know, that reminded me of Pocahontas and John Smith in the animated movie. But, you know, that he had a decoy lightsaber, and that's how he got the drop on her through the waterfall. I didn't see that coming. I was like, that's pretty cool. And then at the end, he has all those kyber crystals as trophies in his robe. And you're like, why were you making a lot of rattling noise when you were jumping around? But, yeah, I mean, it was fine. But to me, there was just, I felt no story here. I mean, they explained so little that I couldn't really get into it. Then, Tatooine Rhapsody. I think the reason I don't care for this one is that I'm not a big music person. I'm not really into bands. I'm not really into the music scene. So I think you have to like love the camaraderie of bands to really like get this episode. Because especially because they didn't even show you how the band came together. So you have to like come into it with that feeling already. And also, I think a lot of how you feel about this episode depends on what you think of this band's music. I would not have signed them to a deal. I thought they were not good. They would have had to have been like Queen level good for me to sign them like, Jabba the Hutt does. I was like, I don't think you guys are that good. It's certainly not a main act. I mean, I was surprised that everybody asked for them to do another song. So I think that's what really influenced my feelings about it. I mean, I put it a little higher up than some. It's third to last because you gotta like the Boba Fett and Jabba show up here. So I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And I thought for sure that guy, that little Jabba, was like related to him, but I guess not. I thought he was like his kid or his nephew or something. But no, he legit wanted to kill that guy. All right, so anyway, or that blob. And then second to last, T-Obi-Wan, which I do like that it sounds like Obi-Wan, or Toby. And I respect the Astro Boy reference. Like, it's Astro Boy. But they did absolutely nothing with it. Although, to be fair, I don't know Astro Boy that well, so maybe the environmental thing is a tie-in to Astro Boy, but it has to be able to stand on its own as well. And I just thought this did not stand on its own at all. I thought the story was incredibly weak. It was hard to follow. It seemed not to go anywhere. It seemed to have nothing to do with Star Wars, really. So I guess they restored Tatooine, so that's nice. And then the one I disliked the most, and I thought it was interesting because some people said they liked it the most, and I was like, really? So my last for me is The Village Bride. And I think that you have to like the commentary of the episode, and I did not like the commentary of the episode. I thought it was pointless. It did not work for me. I want to be respectful of those who did enjoy it. So, but again, I would be curious to hear your thoughts on it. I appreciated the Miyazaki style animation, but again, it didn't feel like Star Wars to me, and it had way too little action. I don't know why that groom had to carry the bride everywhere. And then I was like, what is he taking the bride for? Is this like in Braveheart, which is actually from history, where the ruler gets to spend the first wedding night with the bride? I was like, that's pretty adult, Disney. And they're like, we didn't actually say that, so that's on you. So I did not care for that episode at all. I thought the last two were, like, in my opinion, I had a hard time getting through them. And I feel a little similar, to be honest with you, about the Ninth Jedi. But again, I liked the lightsaber lore so much that I still elevated it to second place. But those were the three that I had a hard time getting through them, actually. So anyway, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts about the show. Share them down below. Thank you for going over this with me. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.